Okay, let's go to the Chumash of today. We start the Chitas of the day. We're holding in the book of Vayetze, in the book of Genesis, Parshas Vayetze. Today is Thursday, so we're holding the fifth reading of that portion, and we're holding on chapter 30, verse number 28. And he said, so here we're middle of the story. Yaakov Avinu tells his father-in-law Lavan, it's time to him to leave, and it's time to go home. So then he said, specify your wages for me, and I'll give them. You owe me money. Worked for you for 14 years already. I've been working for you, and I gotta get paid. Rashi says the nakva, the word nakva means to specify, to tell me. I said, what do you mean? You know what I worked for you. And how your livestock was with me. You know exactly how things went. Rashi says the small amount of your livestock that came into my hands, how many were there? There were very few. Because there were extremely very few amount of sheep that came into my business, into my care. And the multitude. And the Lord bless you because my arrival. And when will I do for my own family? I've done everything for you. Time that I do something for myself. The ragli, what means the ragli? To my foot? With my foot, because of my arrival of my foot. That's what his meaning is. For the needs of my household. Now only my children work for my needs, and I too must work with them to assist them. This is the meaning too. Gam anechi also too. Verse 31. He said, what should I give you? Don't give me anything. Let's make up a deal. I'll continue to pasture and flock to watch your sheep. Go pass today all your sheep. Remove from there every speckled or spotted kid, and every brown lamb amongst your sheep, and every spotted and speckled one from amongst the goats, and this will be my wages. Let's go. I'll make a decision. We're going to separate the sheep. Those that are spotted will be mine. Spotted with small patches like dots. The expression of patches, white spots. Chaim is somewhat reddish brown, russet. Those that were born from now and on, speckled or spotted among the goats or brown among the sheep, they'll be mine. And those that are here now, separate them and entrust them with your sons. So do not say to me, consider that those that are born from now and on. They were there for the beginning. And furthermore, so that you should not say to me, though the males are speckled and spotted, the females will give birth to similar animals from now and on. So therefore, you know what? Take all the spotted and the speckled, let's get rid of them. Separate them. And we'll see what happens in the future. And my righteousness will testify for me at a future date. For there will come upon my wages before me. Whatever is not speckled or spotted amongst the goats or brown amongst the sheep, will be stolen from me. So therefore, that's the way we're going to do it. We're going to separate. I'll take right now all the speckle. We'll separate. We'll put it in your hands of your son. Continue to watch the sheep. Any more sheep that come out speckled and spotted will be mine. And if I take any of the none, then I'll be stolen your sheep. So it'll be a clear sign of who's my sheep and what's your sheep. So if you suspect me of taking anything of yours, my righteousness will testify for me. My righteousness will come and testify about my wages before you. Well, you will find that my flock only speckled and spotted ones. Whatever you find amongst them that are not speckled and spotted, I've obviously stolen from you. And only only through theft is in my possession. Therefore, every sheep of mine for now and now will be speckled and spotted. He said, you know what? Very well. Sounds like a good idea. Very good expression denoting acceptance. Only if you would want this. That's it, guy. How many sheep come out speckled and spotted? So they removed that day all they ringed and spotted male goats and all the speckled and spotted female goats. They took them all out of the sheep. So now every sheep that was with Yaakov was totally unspotted and unspeckled. Took all the female goats, which whatever was white in it, and all the brown from amongst the sheep, and he gave them in the hand of his sons. On that day he moved it. At Yoshim Izim as Chorim. Yoshim is male goats. Which has ever had white patches on it. Vayitin Lavan Biadbanav, he gave it to his hands of his son. Yosim Derashlosh Yom Yaakov, they separated themselves, a 3-day separation between Yaakov and Lavan. Yaakov, it's saying Lavan and Status, and Yaakov continued to tend to the remaining sheep of Lavan. Actually, the weakest amongst them, the sick and the barren, which only leftovers he gave him over. See, he gave him the leftovers sheep. Yaakov took himself moist rods with trembling poplar and hazelnuts and chestnuts, and he peeled white streaks upon them, bearing the white that wasn't the rods. Now says this is a tree named Levana. So there on the oak and trembling popular Levana. I believe it's Levana. There's one called Tremble in Old French. Trembling popular and aspen, which is white. I'm not sure exactly which kind of tree this is. Lach, it was still moist. Luz, it took root also. It took also the rod of a luz, a tree upon which small nuts grow, called their hazelnuts. For Ayman, he took chestnuts, let's say many peelings, for it made it spotted. Machshavas alavan, and he peeled it, it was white, appeared, and was bared in the place where it was peeled. This was like a tree that its bark had many different colors, round colors of dark inside dark. So it was like there was the tree was speckled, so to say. He thrusted the rods which that he's peeled into the gutters of water trouts where the animal came to drink. So now the animals saw this. And when they looked at this, they saw these rods. And they would come into heat when they came to drink. This was a interesting concept. There's a lot of siddur on this, a lot of medrashim on this story of how this works. So where the water was running into the pools, he made the ground in which the water flocked. In the gutters where the animals would come to drink, he thrusted the rods opposite the animals. So the animals, Rashi says, would see the rods and she would be startled backwards. When the male would mount her and he would give birth offspring similar to him. Shea says the water would become sperm in their innards and did not have to acquire a male. It was like a miraculous situation. And this is the meaning of Yachamena. In his words, there was a combination of masculine and feminine forms. I wish, as explained by Avram ben Ezra. And his flocks became heated by the rods, and the animals bore ringed, spotted, and striped. After the sight of the rods, akudim unusual in the place where they were bound. Those are the joints, the four legs and the hind legs. And Jacob separated his sheep, and he turned the faces of the animals toward the ringed ones, and every brown one amongst Laban's animals, and he made himself flocks by himself, and did not place them with Laban's animals. What does that mean? Rashi says, those born rings or speckled, he divided and separated for himself. And he made the formation of each flock separate, and he led the ring flocks ahead of the ordinary animals. And the faces of those animals followed and gazed at them. This is what scripture says further. He turned the face of the animal toward the ringed ones. The face of the animal directed towards the ringed ones, and towards every brown one they found in the Laban's flock. So in essence, he created this concept that by looking, by seeing, by the animals seeing these animals that were spotted, they had children that were spotted. By Yoshla Adorim, as I explained. It came to pass whenever the animals were bearing their first to come out into heat. And Yaakov placed these rods in the water throws before the eyes of the animals in order to bring them to heat by the means of the rods. I'm not a shepherd. So Rashi says to be interpreted according to the Targum, those who are giving birth to their first, but for this interpretation, there are no evidence in the scripture. However, associated with Shmuel and Teifel is amongst the Bekusharim, the conspirators, the conspiracy, the Kesha is a conspiracy. Those who bind themselves together to hasten their conception. Verse 42, and what if the animals would delay? Yossi would not place them. And those ones that delayed were for Lavan, and those the ones that bore it first became Jacob's. As the term donating delay as a Targum Kabbalah Akshis, the term donating wrap, meaning that they will wrap themselves in their skin and in their wool, and they did not desire to come into heat through the males. A Yifresh eats Moed, and the man, the Yaakov Avinu, became very wealthy. He laid certain abbas, and he had a vast amount of sheep. And automatically he had maidservants and manservants, and camels and donkeys. So he figured out a way how to multiply his sheep. They were fruitful and multiplying more than other animals. He would sell the animals at a high price. It was seemingly very choicey animals, and he purchased all this for himself. Chapter 31, verse 1. And he heard the words of Lavan. He heard the words of the sons of Lavan. Laimar was that what they were saying. There was a rumors going on. Lakach Yaakov was Kala Shalavinu. Yaakov has taken everything that would belong to our father. Mashalavino asas kalakam, from my father, from our father, he made this entire fortune. The Yaakovino took away all our fortune. Verse number 2, Yaakov's name Lavan. So Yaakov saw the face of his father-in-law. And it was not exactly like him. He didn't look at him like they looked at him 3 days ago. Because of the rumors that were going on, that he became extremely wealthy because of him. Yaakov, God said to Yaakov, Shul ve'eretz avesecha. Return to the land of your forefathers, into your birthplace, and I'll be with you. So I said, there I'll be with you, but as long as you're still attached to this unclean one, to Lavan, it's impossible to cause my presence to rest upon you. So you have to leave. And Yaakov called Rachel and Leah Hasad into the field, El Seinai to his flock. So that's just first he called Rachel and then Leah, because Rachel, was his mainstay of the household. Because on her account, Yaakov came to Lavan. Even Leah's children acknowledge this matter. For Boaz and his tribunal in the time of the tribe of Judah says, like Rachel and like Leah. So you see throughout history, even later on, they always put the name Rachel before Leah, because that was self-understood. Why he married Leah is because of Rachel. He told him, I see your father's face. He's not looking at me like he looked at me yesterday. But and the God of my father is with me. And you know, with all my strength of vanity, I worked for him like a slave. Avichan has to be have a hachlif as my scarty. My father mocked me. Your father mocked me. And he changed my wages 10 times. Everything, whatever was working, he changed the wages. He changed the wages there. And God did not allow that this all this negative should affect me. Rashi says, "Ein mainim less than 10." A term denoting base number, which is 10. We learned that Lavan changed the stipulation hundreds of times. 10 times 10. If he says the speckle shall be your wages, all the animals bear speckle ones. So then he saw that wasn't working. If he says your ring one should be, he said, no, I don't want you to have the speckles. I want you to have the ring ones. We also call it and all the animals were being born ringed. So he kept on changing it back and forth with the Abish to make sure whatever happened, happened. And if he has any complaints, he needs to go to God. Because God separated your father's flock and gave it to me. It came to pass when the time the animals came into heat. I lifted up my eyes, and I saw in a dream. And I saw in the dream, behold, all the he goats that mounted the animals were all ringed. And I couldn't root them speckled and specked. The Rashi is, although Lavan has separated them all so that the animals would not conceive the likeness, the angels were bringing them from the flock that has been given over to the hands of Lavan's sons. They were bringing them these flock. So everything was done in Hashemayim. I had nothing to do with the situation. So it was all it's not for God. Through the angels bringing the flock, the spotted flock, bringing them out of the Lavan's sons' stables and bringing them to here. They would not have any. They wouldn't have children that were spotted. The Rashi says a striped thread encircled his body all around, and its stripes are open and penetrate from one to another. But I have no evidence in this. I don't see this in the pasuk. And God said, an angel of God said to me, Yaakov, and he called me Jacob. Now lift up your eyes and see that he is that the he goats, mounted the animals are ringed, speckled, and striped. For I have seen all that Lavan has done to you. Can you get these? So therefore, I'm making sure that whatever the deal is, you are going to have many sheep. I'm the God of Bethel, which you on your way here, anointed a monument, which you made over there, pronounced a vow to me. That if I'm going to be with you, I'm going to give you what you need. Time to get up and leave this land, and come back to the land of your birth. This is Bethel, where he made him, where he slept. He slept in Bethel. The hay is superfluous. The scripture speaks the way like, oh, you're coming to the land. It's to the land. Shach Sham, expression of grandeur and greatness, just as one anointing a king. So the meaning is saying you poured oil on the top of it. You anointed an altar in Bethel. It's time to come back to Bethel. This is in Yerushalayim. I should have died to leave, and you must pay up. You have time to, because you said if I'll be with you, and I will give you all your needs, and I'll bring you back home, you'll make for me an offering. So now it's time to. It's 22 years later. It's time to come back home and bring that offering you promised me 22 years ago. And both Rachel and Leah replied to him and said, we still have a share or inheritance in our father's house. Why should we, Rashi says, why should we stop you from returning? Do we still hope to inherit anything from our father's property amongst the male? We're not getting nothing here. We have no value here. We are like considered like strangers to him. He sold us. Sold us to you. You worked for us. He sold us. He sold us and also consumed our money. This is our, whatever you work, it should belong to us. Even at a time when people usually give a dowry to their daughters, at the time of the marriage, he behaved to us like he behaved to strangers. We sold us to you. You had to pay for us. He should have given you dowry for marrying us. No, he sold us. You served him 40 years for us, and you gave us to you only as wages for labor. Kaspe, we kept the wages for your own labor. Then you worked, and he kept the wages. Totally a sale. For all the wealth that God separated from our father is really Malvino Lanu, who really belongs to us. To our sons, children. And now, whatever God said to you, I say, do. Get up, and we'll move out of here. Now she says, he means here, but. That is, we have nothing of our fathers, but what the Holy One, blessed be He, separated from our fathers is ours. So we have nothing. Our Father has given us nothing. Even when we got married, He gave us nothing. And everything that you worked over here is self and belongs to us. Yitzil, meaning that He separated. So every expression Hatzalah means separation. One separates another from harm from his. Okay. That's the Chumash of the day. Now go to the Tanya. I want to share with you, because we're going to come again to this concept. So I have promised you to show you this. And so in front of you, you have these four numbers, 72, 63, 45, 52. So if you look at these, if you look in front of these, you see Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. The name of God has four letters. Yud, Hey, we don't say that name of God. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. If you take Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, and you count it up, the Yud is 10, the Hey is 5, the Vav is 6, the Hey is 5. That equals up to 26. But now you go and you write out those four letters. So there's four ways of writing out the four letters. There's one way, Yud, Vav, Dalet, Yud. How do you write a Yud? Yud, Vav, Dalet. That's how you say the word Yud. Yud. Hey. Hey could be Hey, Yud. Hey. Vav is Vav, Yud, Vav. And Hey is Hey, Yud. If you count up those 5, 6, if you count up these letters in this formation, you're going to have 72. Yud is 10, is 20. The Yud is 20. Yud Vav Daled is 20. Hey Yud is 15, is 35. Vav Yud Vav is 22. And Hey Yud is 15 again. You count them all up, it's 72. That's what's called Shem Ab. Ayin Beis. Ab. Ayin Beis. The Ayin Beis together is Ab. Ayin Beis 72. What's interesting, it also equals up to the word Chesed. Chesed. If you take the word Chesed, which is kindness, you count up those three letters, is 72. Samach is 60. Ches and Daled is 12, 72. That's Shem Ab. Go to the next way to write the letter Yud Kei Vav Kei. You can write a Yud Vav Daled, Hey Yud, and now just change instead of putting Vav Yud Vav, Vav Aleph Vav. If you and the last word is Hey Yud again. If you equal up those four word letters, now it's 63. Gematria of 63. That is what's called, you hear in Chassidus, Shem Sag. Sag is Samach Gimel. Samach is 60, Gimel is 363. Interesting again, the word Navi, prophet, equals up to 63. Next word, you can put the number, you can write out the name Yud Kei Vav Kei in the following way. Yud Vav Daled, Hey Aleph. Instead of Hey Yud, Hey Aleph. Vav Aleph Vav, like before, and Hey Aleph. That's going to equal up to 45. That is what you hear many times. Shem Ma. Mem Hey. That's the gematria of Ma. And it's interesting that that is the same gematria of the word Adam. Aleph, Daled Mem, Adam, which is humanity, is 45. Shem. Now, then we're going to come to the last one, and that is Yud. You spelled it already, Yud, like before. Oh, now we go Hey, Hey. Instead of Hey Aleph or Hey Yud, we do Hey, Hey. Vav, Vav. Instead of Vav Aleph Vav and Vav Yud, it's just Vav, Vav. And Hey, Hey. If you equal up these letters, it's 452. That's what's called Shem Ban. Ma, Mem Hey, 45. Ma is 45. Just Mem Hey together. 45. That's how you write 45 in Hebrew. Mem Hey, 45. All this is the way you write it in Hebrew. Again, you can't ask the question, what is it? I'm giving you this Kabbalistic things. This is one of the ways of Kabbalah of how you do gematria. The name of God is Yud Hey Vav Hey. That's we know in the Torah. The name of God is Yud Hey Vav Hey. The question is, and that's 26. It's a gematria of 26. Then is the way the God's name is written out. God's way, the gematria, the way it's written out, the name of God. And each of the 4 different ways the gematria is written out comes to a different numeric value. That's gematria, numeric value. And each of these numeric values shows on a certain different level in spirituality. Shem Ma, Shem Ban, Shem Sag. And the last one is Shem Ban, 52. Now, what's interesting, if you want to know the way it corresponds to the world, now it shows you have a gematria in the world. So Shem Ban has the same gematria as behema. The word behema, nefesh habahamis, behema, animal, equals up to 52. Bays is 2, hey is 10, is 12, mem is 40, is 52. If you want, I should send you this. I did this yesterday. It's on a Word document. You can ask me, and I'll send it to you. But this is the basic. This is just the base. I'm not giving you the inner Kabbalistic meanings. I'm just giving you what over here, what Kabbalah says in these 4 names of God. Shame, you're going to hear it again. The Alter Rebbe is going to say it again. Shame. So the Alter Rebbe says the highest name is Sag. Shame Sag is 63. 63. I'm sorry, 72. No, Sag is the Navi. And then the gematria of the obligation of man, what's the power of man, is Shema, which is 45. And what is the power of where is it lay into? It's in Shemban, gematria 52. So in Kabbalah, these 4 names, everything comes from the name of God. Excuse me. So everything has its place, so to say. So here's the gematria, how you take these, you have these 4 names of God. These 4 how we manipulate in a gematria, the way we write out the same name of God, Yud K Vav K, the same 4. The tetragram, Yud K Vav K, the way God is above and beyond, comes ultimately, it's written in the letters. It's Yud Hey Vav Hey. Right? And the question is, how do you write those letters out? How do you like the letter Yud? You can write a Yud Vav Dalet. You can write it. The Yud Vav Dalet is always right the same way, it looks like. How you write Hey? It could be a Hey Yud. It could be a Hey Aleph. It could be a Hey Hey. How do you write the letter Vav? It can be Vav Yud Vav. It can be Vav Aleph Vav. It can be Vav Vav, etc. So the way you're going to write ultimately the letter is the way you're going to have a different numerical gematria. And ultimately you're going to find letters, words that connect to that gematria. So Chesed, as you see, is also 72. Navi is 63. Adam is 45. That's what you'll see when it talks about man. You'll see that in Kabbalah it says Shema. Connected to man is Shema, because that's his. And that's what it means. That's the gematria, is the DNA of man, is the Yud K Vav K, the way it's written in this kind of a form. So if you one day wanted to make man, like the Maharal Miprag, you would have to know how to use God's name to make man. The Maharal Miprag made a human being. He used Kabbalistic powers to make you a human being. So he used Shema. He knew how to use this name and this gematria. He knew how to do it, and he created a golem. Don't try it. And if you want to go lower to create Behema, the animal, now you have, also comes to the name of God, but it's in a different formation. It's in a different calculation. It's a different way the name of God is written in Hebrew. And it's Shem Gematria, it's Shem Ban. Yeah, the Shem Ban is just the numerical value. The name of Ban. Ban is 52 in Hebrew. Ma is 45. It's a number. It's a number that we call it a name, but it's a number. Shem Ma means 45. Shem Ban is 52. Shem Sag is 63. Shem Ab is 72. Ab, the word Ab, Ayin Beis, That's I wrote it in over here. Ayin Bays. Ayin Bays, you take the letters, Ayin Bays, which is Shem Ab, is 72. That's how you would write in Hebrew 72. Ayin and a Bays. How you write 63 in Hebrew is Sama Gimel. How you write 45 in Hebrew is Mem Hey. How you write 52. Look in the Siddur. You'll see page 52. It would be Nun Bays. Over here we flip it around, Bays Nun. Mem Hey, Bays Nun. It's the same thing. So that's the concept, my friends. Again, these are Kabbalistic concepts, which is above my pay grade. But we can try to understand all these concepts in an esoteric way and try to connect it to something in what the Alter Rebbe wants to explain. Okay, so I will. If you want to, I'll show it again later. And because we're gonna say, if you want, I could send this to you, this paper, and but it will help you out in any way. Let's go to the Tanya. Ma is two letters together. Manishtan, Mem Hey, Manish. I got this cough. I apologize. Wag hat. I don't know what that means. What? Ma, what? Yeah, ma means, ma also means a word, ma. Manishtan, what? But ma is 45. That's the numerical right. Ma means what? But the numerical value, we're not looking into the word per se, what it means. We're looking into the number. Ma, Mem Hey is 45. Okay, the Alter Rebbe now points out the superior quality inherited in the very service of action, in the very service of action related to mitzvahs in comparison to the intellectual general love and awe. For the direction of the latter form of divine service is merely an elevation. Allah means an elevation, which causes a corresponding elevation of light above. The ultimate intent of creation is a fulfillment not by this, but by the particular commandments. For their function is drawing down Hamshacha of divinity to a state of revelation in this world. That's really what it's all about. It's all about the concept of bringing God down. If you have an intellectual concept, it's about concept of elevation, Allah. And we're looking for Hamshacha. There's a Allah, there's a concept of going up, there's a concept of coming down, Hamshacha. You can bring everything up, but we need to bring something down. And that is the concept of a mitzvah, is to bring it down. So all my intellectual capacities is my elevation, is my going up. And the concept of a mitzvah is bringing God down. And that's why we need to do a mitzvah, because without the mitzvah, we can't bring God down. And we need to bring Hamshachas Alatos, we need to bring God down in this world. Besides all the above, meaning all the above mentioned ways in which the action related mitzvah is superior to intellectual arousal of love and fear, there is yet another superior quality to a particular mitzvah. Even in case of a soul of the world of Atzilus, like Moshe Rabbeinu, that it says that his neshama is the neshama of the world of Atzilus. Though it derives from the vessels of Atzilus, his neshama derived from the vessels of the world of Atzilus, he has a great neshama. Self-listen, Moshe Rabbeinu had a great neshama. And the quality in the case of a nefesh and ruach, which derives from the vessel of Yitzir Asiyah, so too. Even if your neshama comes from the vessels of Yitzir, Yibliya, Yitzir Asiyah, wherever your neshama comes from. The their intellect, fear, and love, which themselves, which themselves are mode of elevation, their intellect, my intellect. If I neshama comes from the world of Yitzhasiyah, and I have an emotional inspiration in this world, as I'm standing in this world, I have emotional inspiration in this world. What do I accomplish? I accomplish ma'odim gam ken the kelim the yitzir asiyah b'chinas Allah memata l'mayla. I create just like I through my intellect. I create a love to God. I create an awness to God. That's what I'm doing. I'm creating an awe in my mind, an awe and a love of God. That means I'm uplifting myself. I am connecting myself to God. That's the concept of my expression of love and fear and my intellectual inspiration to God. I am coming close to God. That's an Allah. I am coming closer through my Ava, through my love of God and through my fear of God. I am elevating myself to God. What happens? Yes, if my neshama comes from the world of Atzilus, if my neshama comes from the world of Bria, or my neshama comes from the world of Asiyah, I'm uplifting Bria, Yitzir, Asiyah. That's what I'm doing. So I have an Allah and they have an elevation because my neshama is connected to where it comes from. So if my neshama that's connected to the world of Asiyah, to the world of action, or let's say Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama is connected to the world of domination, when he does his Abbas Hashem and Yidas Hashem, he elevates the world of emanation. I, that come from the world of action, elevate the world of action. I elevate the Caleb that's in the world of Asiyah. I elevate those vessels to be able to come closer to its source, like I'm doing in this world. It's cause and effect. And through my arousal initiated from below, through my arousal of godly love and godly awe and godly intellect. However, this is a state of departure alone, God forbid. The effect of the vessels that are done is that they depart upwards. So I have an Allah, I'm going, it's like a rotary. It's a concept of going forward. And therefore, ultimately, you reach up to the two sons of Aaron. They left the world. That's what happened. They had such a love of God that they left the world. Because the concept of my love, the concept of my awe, the concept of my arousal is leaving the world, is going closer to God. Just as love and fear do not descend into expression in mitzvahs, are also in the state of elevation and departure. When love and fear do descend into a mitzvah, they enhance and affect the mitzvah in drawing down divine light. And that's concept. That's the next concept. But by eliciting from above a downward effect, I'm looking for not only my elevation, I'm looking for something to happen, that something should come back in this world. That's what I want to accomplish. I don't want to accomplish an elevation of above. What about the world? I came down to the world that I should leave the world. I came down to this world that I should bring something in this world. That there should be Amshachas Alakus in this world. I should transform the world. That's what I'm here for. Did it b'tachtayim. Now going back to the original concept. The Eibishter God created the whole world, and He created the darkness in the world, and He created the Torah, and He created a Yid, and He created me, that I should make for Him a dwelling place in this world. That means I should bring Hashachas Alakus. That means I should bring God into the world. Not only to have a spiritual awakening and have this spiritual euphoria, the spiritual connection. So I get higher, I come high, Lord, get me high. No, I should have the concept of the Lord come down into the world. And that's through a mitzvah. Can't accomplish that through Ava and Yida. I can accomplish that through doing a mitzvah, because the mitzvah is the right vessel that gives the capability for godliness to come into this physical world. To bring lights within vessels. And not only lights within vessels. Say this, especially in the external aspect of vessels. Say this, so that the external aspect of the superior level descends, while the internal aspect of the inferior level arises. So Taka, there's a law, there's an elevation above, but automatically creates that there's a descent. There's a light that has the capability to come down into the external aspects of. So there's the external aspect of the spirit comes into the internal aspect of the inferior, and now the inferior is elevated. As created beings thus experience an upward direction, longing for divinity. Divinity descends into this world. Therefore, in the Zohar and Pasha Bekudei, it says the Isidura. There is an order. This world has an order. This is not chaos. Might look like chaos, but it's not chaotic. This world has an order. There's a concept of elevation, order for descent. There's no concept of elevation for the sake of elevation. Like the concept of elevation, just like there's a concept of descent because of elevation, there's a concept of elevation because of the descent. What's going to be the descent? So there's a concept of Susatak, the awakening from above, below, for us, and later for awakening from above. Both are needed for divine purpose, meaning for man's spiritual service, the elevation and the elicitation. The descent. By elevating the feminine waters from the divine name of Sag. Bechinas uvda me'ula. So through the elevation of Sag, we, from the divine name of Sag, that is accomplished by the elevation of sparks, by the deeds and speech. This is the ultimate purpose. This is the ultimate purpose of the downward progression of all the various worlds. Let's Gales to ultimately reveal the supernal light be revealed below. And not that the inferior level be elevated. Because this is only momentarily. We don't want the elevation of the physical that should disappear. We want the elevation of the physical that the spiritual should be able to come into it. We want the rotze for the shuv. We want to come closer so that we should come back. We want to elevate the lower, not that we wanted the lower, the world should disappear and be elevated into godliness. No, we want to elevate the world that it should be able to handle godliness. That's the whole purpose of elevation. And even so, when an elevation is necessary, this involves not the ascent of the light, for that would move towards departure, but simply an elevation of the vessels to the supernal light. So we're not looking the concept of dust, that the light goes up, that we go up. No, we're looking that actually that there should be, that the bottom should be, the lower world should be able to have a greater revelation. We're not looking to leave anywhere. We're looking to elevate things. We're looking to refine things. He milas Shabbos and Kippur, and the truth is, this is the specific quality of Shabbos and Kippur, at which time there's an elevation of the world, with the vessels on a state of elevation to supernal light. Shabbos Kodesh. We're not. The Shabbos is a day of the week, but it's a holier day. We're not looking to move Adam on Shabbos to go to Gan Eden. We're looking that the day Shabbos should be a holy day. To take the vessels, so to say, the day of Shabbos and make it holy. But not the elevation of parts of it. No, we're looking for not looking for that the light should go away. The weak, it should disappear into the upper worlds. What's going to be with on Shabbos? No, we're looking for the elevation of the vessels. So the lights, the upper lights, could actually come into the world. To make the Shabbos a holy day. To make the Yom Kippur a day of Shabbos as holy. It's a Shabbos of Shabbos. We're not looking for the elevation of parts of the lights, God forbid. Because then what will the world be left with? When we're left with darkness. So when it says that on the day of Shabbos, the oidas go up, that's true. But also the kalim go up. And since the kalim's elevation of the vessel, so now the Shabbos has the capability of even greater lights. Because everything is elevated. The spiritual is elevated. And the physical is elevated. So therefore, when the physical is elevated, now even a greater light can come into the physical. Nefesh, ruach, neshama shel adam lagabe guf. The nefesh, ruach, neshama of man, relative to his physical body, you don't have to go far. But my own neshama, even my three lowest levels of my neshama, nefesh, ruach, and neshama, nanan. Those are the three basic levels of my neshama, which is in everybody. Everybody has nefesh, ruach, neshama within him. Nefesh is the most closest to his physicality. Ruach is the emotions of his neshama. And the neshama is the intellect of his neshama is within me. I might not have the chai yichidish of an nefesh, the two higher levels of the neshama revealed in my body, but I have the basic concepts of my neshama is in with me. But it's an oil. In comparison to my body, it's an oil, it's a light, it's a godly concept. Shivi ka'edus lagabe kalim. Consider like lights and relative to vessels. They are oil. There's oil in the neshama. Yined Hashem nishmas adam. Ned, it's a candle, it's a light. And so too, intellect, fear, and love relative to mitzvahs are also like oidus and kalim. Relative, everything is relative. So what is a mitzvah? A physical mitzvah in comparison to love and fear is like oidus and kalim. It's like vessels and lights. So I have a vessel. The vessel, my period film, I put on today in the morning, is a vessel. Now, what am I going to put into this vessel? What am I going to put into this vessel? What kind of oidus am I going to? What kind of lights am I going to put into this mitzvah? I have a vessel. The Eibishter gave me a tool. He gave me a vessel. Put on tefillin, give tzedakah, show love, eat kosher, whatever the mitzvah might be. I have vessels. I've been given lots of vessels. What am I going to do with this vessel? So what's the lights of the vessel? What is the oidus? Is my love, my awe, the way I do the mitzvah. So ultimately, what do I need? What's gonna be worth all this iris? What is gonna be worth all these lights? What's gonna be worth my neshama if I doesn't come down to a body, into this vessel? And really, what is the whole purpose? That this vessel should become bigger and better, refined more, so that this neshama should reveal itself in the vessel. What is worth all the emotions of love of God if I can't do a mitzvah? The vessel. And the truth is, the more I refine the vessel of this mitzvah, the more the oil is revealed. So the more I uplift the mitzvah, what do? The more I uplift the mitzvah, the more I refine the vessel of this mitzvah, the more the oil is revealed in this vessel. And that's really the purpose of the mitzvah. And that's really the purpose of why the neshama comes into a body. That the oil should not that my soul should leave my body, but my soul should be revealed within my body. So I refine my body, I make my body better, so that now the oil is revealed more in my body. I don't diminish the body because I want the body to be uplifted. Why do I want the body to be uplifted? Because I want the oil to be greater. The more I have Allah, the more I have a sister tata. Not that I'm going away from the physical, I'm actually elevating the physical. And that's really the purpose. The Eibishter created that the soul and the body to go together. That I shall uplift my body. So that this oil, I can have an amshacha, I can have this, my neshama should be revealed more in my body. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu prayed 515 prayers, which we have another gematria, which is the gematria that our sages says is gematria to the word ve'eschanon is 515. Moshe Rabbeinu prayed 515 times for what? To do a mitzvah. He told the Eibishter, I want to go into Eretz Yisrael to do the mitzvahs of Eretz Yisrael. I know all the love. I know all. That's the opposite. Because I have such aviyah and awe of God, that's why I want to do the physical mitzvah. That's why I want to do mitzvahs, ma'ases dafka, specifically fulfill a particular mitzvah. Moshe Rabbeinu could not imagine Moshe Rabbeinu, who gave the entire Torah to Yidden, the Jewish people, explained them every mitzvah in all its levels, and Moshe Rabbeinu till today didn't do the mitzvahs that are connected to Eretz Yisrael. Can you imagine his frustration? He knew the spiritual, he knew the ava of the mitzvah, he knew the yid of the mitzvah, he knew all its dimensions, spiritual dimensions, all its connections. But he said, I want to do it. That's the opposite. Because I have such ava, I want to do it. I want to do it because I want to uplift that physical thing. And Moshe Rabbeinu was not given the possibility, the capability to do it. And therefore he davened 515 times to be able to go into Eretz Yisrael. Because he wanted to do a mitzvah. He wanted to do those mitzvahs. So only the Holy Land can have particular mitzvahs be fulfilled in their entirety. And the fulfillment of particular mitzvahs is the ultimate purpose of the entire Shtalshlus. That's an old the Eibishter created the world. For through them, divinity is drawn down to the nether world. Moshe Rabbeinu understood that. There was any person that understood that more. It was Moshe Rabbeinu. That's why he begged the Eibishter over and over and over again. Let me go into Eretz Yisrael. Let me go do a mitzvah. Let me go do these mitzvahs. Because what is worth all the intellectual love and fear of God if I cannot do the mitzvah? I have not accomplished the whole purpose of creation. I have not accomplished the whole purpose of this spirituality if I don't elevate the vessels. So all the spiritual things that I get higher and higher and higher is nothing in comparison to elevating one vessel. That's why it says, Yafa Sha'achas, it's better in this world to do one mitzvah than 1,000 years in the world to come. Because in 1,000 years in the world to come is all about spiritual, in the Gan Eden, it's all about your spiritual development. It's not about the whole purpose of why the spirituality was created. Why was Eidus created? Why was all these lights created? Not that it should go into a vessel. That it should elevate the vessel. And the vessel should become greater. That's why this whole thing was created. That was the whole purpose of Atzilas, Bri, Yetziras, all these upper worlds. And all of these spirituality was all for that mitzvah. Even though the mitzvah is a vessel in comparison to the oil. So you might say, what's so important about the vessel? It's important about the light. And that's not true. The light was created to elevate the vessel. The light is created to fit in this vessel. Such a beautiful concept. Don't get lost in the, again, you can get lost in the Kabbalistic things, which is hard to understand. But to be able to try to take these Kabbalistic things, try to apply it to a practical way, that's what the Alter Rebbe, I believe, tried to do. So to regard to the physical utterance of their laws. So too, we don't realize that the Eibishter gave the Torah in Lashon Kodesh, so that we should say it. Because when we speak Divrei Torah, when we speak the words, we refine the world. It's also the concept of a vessel, the oil in a vessel, the lights in a vessel, in the vessel of speech. For uttering and studying laws of the mitzvahs with physical speech also draws down the light below. So therefore, that's why the Rebbe begged people to know words, Baal Peh, no Mishnayos Baal Peh. Know a Mishnah Baal Peh, by heart. So you're walking down the street, say a Kapitel Tehillim. Say a Mishnah by heart. Say words of Torah. Elevate the world around you. Because by saying these words, you are elevating the world. You're taking oiros, you're taking lights, and you're bringing it into vessels. Physical vessels in this world. And you're refining these vessels. You're elevating these vessels. And that's the whole purpose of Seder Shtalshalos. And that's the whole purpose of the whole reason why God created the world and why we're on this world. Okay. That completed the Tanya of the day. Keep us busy for at least for another day. Today is the 7th day of the month. This is chapter 39 to chapter 43. You do chapter 39 to chapter 43, you do the Chitas of the day. I invite you all today at 10 o'clock. We're going to learn a beautiful Sikha of the Rebbe on the portion of the week at 10 a.m. Come to Chabad or on this Zoom number or on Torah Direct. If not, I'll see you all tomorrow for sure. We'll continue the Chitas.